Welcome to Rise Up CX Talk. This is the podcast where we uncover how to transform customer experience into sustainable revenue. I'm your host, Camila Ferreira, an award-winning CX leader and international speaker, and I'm thrilled to guide you through insights and strategies that drive lasting success. Today, I have the pleasure to welcome Bruno Guimarães. He is the founder of Amigos do CX, one of the biggest CX communities in Brazil. He has more than 20 years dedicated to the sport. He's an Ironman guy and so many more things that I could stay here for 30 minutes just describing him. But it's such a pleasure to welcome him to this podcast. So, Bruno, it's an honor more than anything. And with no further ado, please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what do you do to drive better experiences.
Hello, Camila. First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's such a pleasure to be here with us and with your audience. I'm really excited for this moment today because this, I believe, is going to be my first time speaking about CX and endurance sports. That are the two things that I really love today. So it's going to be a great moment, a great opportunity for us to catch up and truly share my experience and how I connect what I've learned with sports in the CX world. So I'm based in Brazil. I'm based in São Paulo. Like you said, I'm the founder of one of the biggest CX community in Brazil. Plus, I also work for Betano, that is a gambling company. I take care of the customer experience for Americas. So the community is like my extra hours when it comes to weekends and night shifts in order to really connect with the community, create content. And I'm also father of two. So life is a little bit chaotic right now with sports, CX, Betano, and the kids. But I think one thing connects to the other, and one thing help us achieve our objectives and keep on going towards the direction that we aimed for our life. So thank you again, and it's going to be a pleasure to be here today with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing all of this. I keep learning from you. My goodness, your life is a marathon.
Yes,
No
I'll
kidding.
say so.
Okay, so today the main the main subject of this podcast is actually how to connect sports and CX, two worlds that people may not connect. So I think my first question to you is what those two worlds have in common, in your opinion, in your experience, not only preparing yourself as an athlete, but also as a CX leader, a father of two, managing all of those things. As I said, your life is a marathon. So how do you leverage the learns and the values and the pillars of those two worlds together?
Great. I have one specific topic that I want to share more about it, but besides all the resilience and consistency and discipline that any sports required and also any business require for us to have it, I like to mention something that is really important, especially in the CX world, that are about the metrics. How do we use our metrics? Because usually the NPS is the main metric that usually all the teams use it. But sometimes we see that NPS is not enough. I mean, we have to add different KPIs in order to have the big picture. So we can add the effort score, we can add a satisfaction score, or any operational KPI from the business in order to cross those information and have a clear understanding and a full picture of what's really happening. And that I really learned with the sports, especially the marathon, because the marathon, whenever we think, okay, it's just running, just grab a shoe and go out running. But when it comes to marathon, it's a long distance, it's a 42 kilometers. It takes a lot of effort to get there. And usually one of the metrics that we use while we are running are a heartbeat or the pace, the rhythm that you're running. And usually people get tied to only those two metrics. But like in the CX world, is not enough, because if I compare, for example, two marathons that I ran, one is a flat course, the other one is a hilly course. One is 25 degrees, the other one is 10 degrees. And if I only see the pace, probably in option one that is flat is going to be faster. obviously, and the other one's going to be slower. But when I connect different kind of metrics, probably the one that is lower, the condition was, I mean, my performance was better because probably maybe my heart condition is going to be better and more conditional, and it's going to be less. The average is going to be lower than the flat one. The temperature may rise, so we need to have more information in order to compare and have the full picture. So this is one thing that I always have in my mind, not only when I'm running, but especially when I'm doing any kind of projects in the CX world. Because if I look to only one piece of the stories, I'm probably missing a lot of information. And when it comes to customer experience, every information that we're losing is a chance of losing a customer or not delivering what is expected from us. So my first advice is really to see, okay, what are the KPIs that we need to focus? What is the objective of the company? First of all, where is the company wants? What is their aim? Where they want to reach? And then connected to that, we're gonna, okay, based on the objective of the company, I need to follow these KPIs in order to have the big picture, understand where are the gaps, where are the friction points, and what I need to do, what are the action plans in order for me to help the company reach their objectives. So it's much more than just resilience, but it is also is very strategic when it comes to really develop the paths and objectives of the projects and of the plannings.
Fantastic. What a good way of connecting those two worlds, because what you just said is pure gold, right? So we not only have one KPI is not enough for us to understand what's going on. And I have never run myself a marathon, but I do have friends like you who prepare for that. And it's a combination of things, right? Not only external kind of metrics, but also internal, as you correctly said, your heartbeat. So what have you done the previous days? What is kind of your health condition? And if you just go and track pace, you're not going to be able to fully understand how your performance is improving, or how the impact of your performance, right? And I think this is such a great connection with CX, because sometimes people get so much focused in only one KPI. As you said, like either NPS or CSAT or average handle time, but they don't tell the story. And it's really important that we understand the entire story. So getting to the end of a marathon, once you cross the kind of at the finish line, 42 kilometers, you have run 42 kilometers, and all over this journey, so many things can happen that is important for you to understand.
Yeah, and you said a magical word there, that is improvement, enhancement, because, okay, in the beginning of the season of a marathon, I'm probably going to be in one condition that is much worse than the final season, the final season of the marathon. In the CX, the KPIs will help us also to understand our improvements, to see, okay, if this action that I created, did it cause the impact that I needed to cause? Did it enhance the experience of a customer? Did it really impact in a positive way our customers? So we need the KPIs in order to keep track of our improvement, to see if we are going the right direction, or if we need to change somehow the strategy, the path that we are going, in order to be able to adjust fast, in order to don't make sure that we lose the whole season because of a mistake. Because more in the marathon side now, if we don't have the right KPIs, the right planning, the right focus on see how you're improving, we can lose the whole season, because we're going to get to the marathon. Maybe we can get there tired because we overperformed before the marathon. So we reach the peak after the running, the party day, let's put like this, the marathon day. Or maybe we are not ready to the marathon when we reach the marathon. We needed more training, so we are not in our peak. So it's hard to find this balance, because it's very detailed, it's very fine-tuning in order to be able to really reach our peak in the race day. The CX is the same. I mean, you need to somehow find a balance in order to understand okay, what is exactly the customer needs? What a kind of expectation that he has from us as a company. So we need somehow to be able to track all the activities that we're doing. So it's important for us to have the big picture, because with that big picture, we can be more objectives with the action created, and not just going to create a lot of things and won't be able to track, okay, which one really generating impact for the project. So it's important for us, okay, we identify this issue, so let's create this action plan for this, and let's validate. It is working, it's not working, what is the adoption? Okay, it's validated, so let's keep enhancing. Okay, what is next? What is the next action plan? And if it's not working, we can just do the shift. Okay, this didn't work. What's next? What is the action, the new action we need to make it in order to try to improve this? So improvement is really connected to the KPIs, and you're gonna only be able to improve if you have the right metrics in order to understand and to get your whys of the things that's happening to really take the action plans.
Absolutely. So a metric is just useful if you can take action out of it, right? Otherwise, I used to say that this is just frustration for whoever kind of worked on building that metric and reporting on that metric. But something that you mentioned really resonated to me, which is the metrics that we track, some of them are controllable and some of them are not controllable, right? Like in a marathon. So of course, like weather, you're going to check the weather forecast. You're going to try to prepare yourself as much as you can for that. But there are external things, maybe a wind in the middle of the marathon, or it's hotter, warmer than expected. So that's why it's so important. And whenever we are kind of defining the metrics, we also have a great visibility and understanding of what is controllable and what is not controllable. And for the controllable ones, try to kind of have the more control as possible. And for the non-controllable ones, how can you kind of remove weight of the non-controllable, right? So as I was mentioning, weather. So you're not going to go to the marathon without checking the weather in advance. So for you to get prepared with your clothes, with hydration and everything that you need, is the same thing. So if you just kind of go there not knowing, you're going to expose yourself to a risk that is unnecessary.
Indeed, and that is part of the planning. I mean, whenever you are during the session, you need somehow to think of these situations that you cannot control that might happen. So, okay, if you're going to a place that there's a tendency to have a really hot weather, but the city that you're training, for example, is not so hot. So what we can do in order to somehow be a little bit more prepared for this, go to a sauna, trying to train at noon, at 1 p.m. in order to be somehow trying to create the same scenario. Yeah, exactly. Replicate the same scenarios that you're probably going to face in the marathon. So this is about predicting and being ready to a situation that you might face. So it's important for us to really understand, okay, what is my next 2 steps, especially in the trail run. This is really important. Whenever you're running a trail run, you always need to focus on your next 2 steps, because since the terrain is so bumpy and with a lot of rocks and things like that, you can step and twist your ankle. So if you're not focused on the next 2 steps, you probably have a bigger chance of twisting your ankle and being off the competition. So on the CX is the same thing. I mean, you have the things that you can control, the things you cannot control, market-wise or any kind of situation. But you need to be ready for those situations. You need to be prepared. So you need to focus on the things that you can control, and also what are the things that can be wrong? What are the things that can go wrong in this project? This, and that. Okay, what I can do if this is going to happen? So I need to be prepared to face situations like this. And I need to be fast in order to adapt myself and change the route of the project in order to make sure that, like I said before, we don't lose the whole season because of one mistake or because of one incident that happened that we could not control. So we need to be ready to face those situations and pivot really fast. Okay, I understood. It's not working. It's not going to go in that direction. So what I need to change to to change the direction of my ship into a better path in order for me to overcome. So predicting the issues that we might face along the way is really important for us to really be ready whenever they come. Obviously, we can try to be ready, but we won't be 100% ready because we don't know what to expect.
Yeah, but it's the same as getting ahead of our customer issues or customer needs, right? So we try to kind of a plan and get ahead of them. It's impossible to know absolutely everything because, again, we are talking about expectations, but the more that we can replicate in advance, the better.
Exactly. And I mean, there are things that is impossible to predict, like a pandemic that we just went through. Who would ever imagine that, okay, a pandemic will come in 1 year, I need to be prepared? It doesn't happen. They needed to adapt. The ones that was able to adapt fast and do the right shift survived. We saw a lot of small businesses shutting their doors because they didn't manage to adapt themselves. They didn't manage to make the changes and couldn't really survive in this period. So it's all about adaptability and how fast you can move in order to change the direction and to make sure that you don't lose time trying to change one thing that we know that won't happen because it's something that we cannot control.
Fantastic. And I think this is a good segue to the second question that I have for you. And it's actually the main topic of these episodes today, which is consistency and small wins, right? So we have kind of a touch base on this topic already, but in your view, how those two worlds connect on consistency and small wins?
It's a great question, and consistency is a key word here because when we talk about CX, we have the challenge of to always prove ourselves as a team. I mean, day after day, we need to be there proving, okay, we can generate results. We are not just a cost center. We can generate a lot of opportunities, but it's constantly proving, generating small results, generating small opportunities. And that's all about consistency. It doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't work to get, for example, okay, I have a big objective here, and I'm going to aim only on that. In order to reach our North Star, our big objective, I need to have small objectives. I need to have short-term planning, mid-term planning in order to reach to our main objective. So consistency will help us together because we're gonna start to generate small wins. They'll give us more power. Let's put like this in the company. They'll open some doors. They'll connect us to different stakeholders and will help us gain more power in order to really make the transformation to happen. Because depending on whoever's on the top leadership, we need somehow to convince them that putting customer in the center is the best option because it will generate results for the company financial wise as well. It's not only about making the customer happy, but it's mainly to really impact the business. So consistency is key. And when we talk about running triathlon, is about consistency because I cannot run once a month and expect to run a marathon because I won't finish. I will hit the wall really fast. So I need to be there consistently, waking up, going out for a run, doing my sessions, nutrition, strengthening, and so on and so forth in order to reach the North Star. That is finishing the marathon, maybe in the time that I put it to myself. So it's all about the planning, okay? We need to have like in business, we always need to plan. We have a final objective, but we need to create small objectives, small goals in order to keep building the stairs in order to reach there. And running endurance sports is the same because when we talk about endurance sports, it's long distance sessions. I mean, long distance races. So, for example, the marathons will be around 3 hours race. Wow. Ironman is around 10 hours race. The ultra marathon is about 12 hours race. depending on the distance. So it's a long process in order for you to that you need to be prepared. Even though you're not professional, you need to go through all the sessions. You need to be consistent. You need to have small objectives in order to start building up, in order to increase your performance and really get there. Because otherwise, you're just gonna hit the wall really soon, and you probably won't finish the race. So it's all about planning, and consistency will help us really to, like the books that we read today, or the motivation phrases that we see in Instagram, is doing 1% every day. I mean, we need to do our best every day in order to really keep building the blocks to reach there. But it's important to have the focus on the journey, not only on the final objective.
Oh, what
I would say the journey is much more important than the final objective, because the final objective is going to be a consequence if you do the journey as planned.
Yeah, this is so powerful, right? Because sometimes people get so much focus on the finish line and they forget about the journey and all the learnings that only come from the journey. As you were saying, so I love it because I think that you were able to tie those two words together in such a seamless way. First, talking about metrics, it's really important that we do understand what are the metrics that matter most to give us the full visibility, right? So regardless if you are preparing yourself for a marathon, for a triathlon, or for Ironman, or my goodness, 10 hours kind of exercising, this sounds a lot. But yeah, you need to have metrics that give you the visibility of the full picture. And you also mentioned, when talking about metrics, you were talking about improvements, which has absolutely everything to do with consistency and small wins, right? So, okay, we want to achieve a faster pace, or as you mentioned, what is the goal that I set to myself in terms of duration of the race? So this is the North Star. What are the things that are going to actually help me to get there? And this is the journey. And this has all to do with planning. What is my diet? What are the conditions? What are the potential scenarios that I can face throughout this journey? Because you're not going to face the challenges or the unknown situations at the finish line. It can happen as well. But most likely, they're going to happen throughout the race. Right? So what are those situations? How can I prepare myself for the unknown? And it has to do with planning. Like in CX, we got to plan, we got to understand our journey, the journey of our clients. So what will they do in every single step when working with us, even through a service or a product? What are the potential unforeseen conditions that they may face, and how do we get ahead of those things, right? So you perfectly tied those two worlds.
Yeah, and that will bring us back to adaptability, because along the process, if we are focused on the journey, there's going to be a lot of learnings in the running about myself, about how my body works, about how my mind works. What are the triggers that help me to get more motivated, to do a better training? So along the journey, I'll be learning about myself, that I can do some adjustment in order to. I'm not sure if shortcuts are the best keyword here, but it will help me to really do the shortcuts in order to reach where I want to go.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the sales, the same thing. I mean, every interaction we have with our customer is a new learning. It's a new information that we got probably triggers a new idea, triggers a new way of thinking that will help us. Okay, maybe the direction that we're going is not the best one, because we spot this from a conversation with a customer that is going to a new direction. And if we connect a new KPI, will probably indicate that, okay, the new direction is the best one to go. So it's a learning process. It will always be a learning process, because especially if customer experience, that is a living creature, let's put like this, is not something that it's like a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a life. It's life. Yeah. I mean, it's changed constantly, because people change it, and we are just having the connection with people. So if they are changing, things are changing. So we need to be aware of their changes, of their behaviors. What is the new behavior? How they're changing, and how do I use this in order to really keep on understanding my customer and delivering what is the best for him. So the journey is really important for the learning, because in every journey you're going to learn a lot. So in every project you're going to have a new learning, you're going to have a new experience that will help you for your next project. So the next project you're going to be much more capable, because you have the background of the previous projects that it generated a lot of learning for you. So if we focus on the journey, we are in the right track, because then it's a learning process. We all understand the business, we all understand our customer, we all understand ourselves. We understand what are the friction points, where are the gaps, where I need to put more focus, where can I put less focus because it's not so important, and so on and so forth. So this is why the plan is so important, because you need to create some milestones in order to achieve the finish line. And the finish line, like I said, is just a consequence of all the work that we did along the way.
Absolutely. And you mentioned such a kind of an important word and concept, adaptability, right? So if there is something that is constant, is change. We're constantly changing as human beings. And I have spent the past 10 years of my professional life in the tech industry, which is such a new industry compared to others, where changing is part of our daily life. And being able to adapt, to adjust, to understand, and being comfortable with those changes, right? As you said, so you're going to try to prepare as much as you can. You're going to try to foresee the conditions as much as you can. But once you are there, the only thing we know is that it's going to be different. And how to quickly adapt, because the speed of action matters, and matters a lot, right? So again, 1 second, 30 seconds makes a huge difference when you work.
Exactly.
And the same thing with your business, right? So if you take too long to react, most likely your competitors are going to get ahead of you.
Exactly. And once I heard a saying in one marketing event that I was presented. Let me see if I get it right, the saying, but it's about adaptability and change, that says that you need to change in the speed of a Ferrari with the cost of a Beetle.
Fantastic.
So change fast with low, because the faster you change, the less cost you're going to have in order to make the changes. So it's about adaptability. So how fast we can really make the changes, and at what cost? Because at the end of the day, cost is also important here, because, okay, I will change, but it will cost me like twice the budget that was planned. So it won't work. That is not an option. So we need to create the balance as well regarding speed, cost, in order to really make sure that we are in the right direction.
So speaking of sports, kind of in Formula One, when it needs to change tires, it starts raining. It's a big decision, the time you're going to change the tires, because it may stop raining, or it's going to the rain is going to get worse. So the right timing, having the team fully ready to change the tires, as you said, so we're going to change at the speed of Ferrari, but at the cost of a Beetle. And understanding the combinations, and why it goes back to metrics. Knowing your metrics, knowing the performance, knowing where you are, it's gonna help you to make the best decision.
The more information you have, the less risk you're gonna have it.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna have better decisions and faster decisions, because you have the full picture, not only one side of the picture. So that's why we need to combine different metrics in order to be able to react fast whenever we need to react fast.
Yeah. So it has been a marathon of learnings today, but I want to add something else here, because you are also the founder of Amigos do CX, one of the biggest CX communities that I have had the chance to know a little bit more from you. But what is the power of community? So you have your regular job, and then you also lead the community, and you are also an athlete. So adding this community topic to sports and CX, how do you tie all of those things together?
Yeah, I really believe in the community environment, because community is all about collaboration. I mean, it's different people from different backgrounds with different perspectives, but in a community because of a single theme, a single interests, a common interest. In our case, is the CX. So we have different people from different industry, from different types of jobs. I mean, manager, directors, analysts, and different levels. But we are all here in the same for the same objective. That is understanding more the customer, how that we can help more the customer. So the whole concept behind community that is about collaboration for me makes a lot of sense in whatever aspect that they'll say. So let's sample marathons. It's an individual sports. Okay, it's all about myself. I have my own training. I'll train by myself. But when you think about it, it's a collaborative sport because I have other friends that is also running. So sometimes we run together, one motivate the other. Whenever I'm feeling not so good, probably a friend of mine will come to me and say, okay, let's come out, let's motivate, let's go out for a run. And we help each other as a community, as a running community. So even though it's an individual sports, we're going to help each other when we're going to work in a collaborative way. In the CX is the same. I mean, even though we have a CX team, if we do not collaborate with all the stakeholders, probably it's going to take longer for us to achieve the transformation. If we achieve the transformation, because alone it's going to be really hard to achieve those transformation. So the whole concept behind communities is really about creating an open space for us to discuss about our pain points, about our challenges, about best practice of a common topic. In this case, it's running. In the other cases, CX. So that's why I really believe in communities, because it's also a good opportunity for connections. I mean, this live is only happening because we connected somehow because of the community of the CX, because we know someone in common that connected us, and we saw the work of each other and we connected. So this is really amazing. Today, I'm able to connect with you that is in the US. I can connect with some that is in Finland, in Japan, in whatever place, because of a common topic, that is the CX, or that is running, or whatever. So the community will always help us to feel part of something because of a common interest, and also is a space for us to find someone to really help you when you have a challenge, when you have when you need a best practice, or when you need some kind of information that you're stuck, for example, in anywhere. So community for me is like, it's key. I love, for example, companies that create communities like Lego, like Apple. They have their own community, and sometimes it's even created by the customer, not even by the brand itself, which is even more amazing, because it seems that the company succeeds somehow, because if the customer is creating a community to really support the brand and to really help the other customers about that specific product, it's amazing. So community can take us very far, and together as friends, as people that want to support each other. So I really believe in the power of the communities.
Absolutely. And this is so what you said, that is sharing a common goal, right? Because nowadays, I'm not entirely sure in Brazil. I have been living here in the US for quite a while, but it's very trendy to attend network events. And then I say, okay, I like knowing people. I like kind of expanding my network purposefully, right?
Yeah.
So as so we got connected because we have someone in common. I saw one of your posts and we have this person, and then we get to know each other. But the objective or the goal is shared by the two of us. Oh, exactly. We are CX professionals that really wants to elevate the concept of CX. That's what united us. Sometimes you kind of go to, I don't know, network event that has absolutely nothing to do with your goals, your ambitions. So I think a good message to the audience is be purposeful. Be purposeful.
Yes.
In your connections, right? Be intentional. Let me put this way. Because community, I completely agree with you. My goodness. Together, we can go way more far than if we are by ourselves. But it's important that your connections had a purpose behind it.
And I would say not only the connections, but whatever you do in life. I mean,
Oh,
right? I
absolutely.
mean, because it's really important what you said, because nowadays is everything about networking. I mean, you have a lot of events, a lot of gatherings, a lot of things. Okay, let's do networking. But where is this networking leading us? I mean, if it's only to get to know someone, maybe we are just losing time. But like you said, if we have a purpose, okay, I met this person, it's a really interesting person, has a great background. Okay, how can we work together? How we can do things together in order to elevate my career and my connection career? Because nowadays it's important for us to have our connections, our partnerships, in order to escalate, in order to really achieve the next level. Because I would say that everything today is kind of a commodity because we have everything. But if we combine different minds, we can create something new. We can create something that is unique. And that's going to be very, very powerful, because then it's really delivering something unique to the markets and to yourself. Because it's not only about yourself as well. It's also, okay, well, how are we getting back to the market? How are we really helping the market to increase, to create, to get more mature? So it's, and the community has also this sense, not about the individual thinking, okay, I'm only thinking about my career, but okay, how can my experience bring it back to the market or to someone else? So it's all about this connection and purpose and changes.
Together, we are definitely stronger.
Definitely. Yes, no doubt.
Believe me, but it's about to end.
That's so fast. I could stay here the whole evening.
Right? Oh my goodness. Yes, I think that we could stay here for many, many hours talking about this topic that is so passionate, how we combine the sports with CX. CX is definitely a sport. We are always kind of learning and improving and getting better. But before we wrap things up, what is the message that you want the audience to live with after this conversation?
I'll stick with the journey. I mean, whatever you do, please be 100% sure what are the objectives behind, why you're doing that, in order to really deliver something exceptional. Because it's really common for us to see a lot of companies like doing NPS, doing a lot of surveys with a lot of questions. And then we ask, okay, why are you asking this? I don't know, just to have the data. And just to have the data maybe won't take you anywhere. So before any actions, please make sure that you know exactly why you're taking that action. Because once you start to get the data or the responses, you're going to be able to use this in order to really take the action. Because otherwise, you're just going to have a lot of information, and then you're going to be like, okay, what's next? What do I do with this? Because since you don't have a clear objective, you don't know what's next. You don't know what is the next step. So have in mind, what is your journey, what is your objective, and why do you want to achieve that objective, and really go deep. Because talking about, okay, I want to deliver a better customer experience, okay, we all want, but why? Start with the whys. I mean, go deep.
Right, right?
Yeah, 5 times whys, exactly. So go deep, don't be superficial. Really understand the reasons behind, the purpose behind, in really for you to really understand, okay, I need to focus on this and this and that in order to achieve this. And then the journey is going to be much more smooth and enjoyable, because then you're going to be able to really see, oh, I have this question, and now with this information really connects the dots, things start to become brighter, and it's going to be an amazing journey. So have the objectives really clear in order to take the actions before and really know what you're doing before taking any kind of actions. So that's my advice for today.
Absolutely. I love it. Don't ask for feedback if you're not going to act on it, right?
Please, yes, because then he's going to be even more frustrated for the customer that lost his time to give feedbacks, and to say, why I need to give my feedback if nothing happening, right?
And instead of connecting, you're going to push your customers away. So please
Exactly.
don't do that.
Yes.
It was an honor to have you here. As expected, I knew this would be such an amazing conversation. So I can't thank you enough for sharing your knowledge, sharing your experiences and your advices with the audience. And yeah, I hope to meet you soon.
To me, you soon, Camila. For me, it was a great pleasure. It's an honor to talk about two subjects that I really love, that is sports and CX. So count on me. I really enjoy our time here. It really passed really fast. I didn't see the time pass by. And hopefully to catch up soon. And thank you. Thank you for the audience as well to that stick with us here.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.